Ernst Kaltenbrunner, Austrian Nazi leader and a high-ranking SS officer. He was born on 4th October 1903 in Rieden-Innkreis, Austria. Raised in a nationalist family, his father was a lawyer. He was educated at the Royal Gymnasium, the most advanced education in the German secondary school system at the time. He was also a childhood friend of Adolf Eichmann, the infamous SS officer who played a key role in implementing the Nazis' final solution against Europe's Jews. After gymnasium, Kaltenbrunner completed his PhD in law and political science at the Graz University in 1926 and worked as a lawyer in Salzburg, and later in 1928 he opened his own law office in Linz. He was 6 feet 4 inches tall and with deep scars on his face from dueling in his student days. Some sources attribute them to a car accident. Kaltenbrunner joined the Austrian Nazi Party on 18 October 1930 and joined the SS on 31 August 1931. He was the district speaker for the Nazi Party in Upper Austria and in 1933 became head of the National Socialist Lawyers League in Linz. He married Elisabeth Eder on January 14, 1934, who was also a Nazi Party member. The couple had 3 children. Kaltenbrunner also had twins, Ursula and Wolfgang, with his longtime mistress, Gisela Gräfin von Westarp. All the children survived the war. In January 1934, Kaltenbrunner was briefly imprisoned at the Kaisersteinbruch detention camp with other Nazis for conspiracy by the Engelbert Dollfuss government. In 1934, he was imprisoned again on suspicion of high treason in the assassination of Engelbert Dollfuss. This accusation was dropped, but he was sentenced to 6 months in prison for conspiracy and lost his license to practice law. In 1937, he was arrested again by the Austrian authorities on charges of heading the illegal Nazi Party organization and was released in September. On 13 March 1938, Kaltenbrunner assisted in the Anschluss with Nazi Germany. The Anschluss was the annexation of the Austria into the Nazi Germany. After the Anschluss, Adolf Hitler promoted Kaltenbrunner to SS Brigade Führer and then on 11 September 1938 to the rank of SS Gruppenführer in the army. He helped establish the Mauthausen-Gusen concentration camp near Linz. Mauthausen was the first Nazi concentration camp opened in Austria following the Anschluss. The Nazis were anti-Semitic. They saw the Jews as a problem. This was what the Nazis called the Jewish question. To carry out the final solution to the Jewish question, the Nazis created killing centers to carry out mass murder. The Nazis began to systematically commit mass killings of Jews after Germany attacked the Soviet Union in June 1941. The Nazis used gas chambers and mobile gas vans to mass murder Jews. Kaltenbrunner was a committed anti-Semite. According to SS Sturmbannführer Hans-Georg Mayer, Kaltenbrunner was present at a meeting between Hitler, Goebbels, Himmler and Heydrich in December 1940, where it was decided to gas all Jews who were unfit for work. After the assassination of Reinhard Heydrich in June 1942, Kaltenbrunner replaced Heydrich as chief of the Reich Security Main Office in January 1943. The RSHA included the offices of the SD and the Security Police, the combined forces of the Gestapo and Kripo. He held this position until the end of World War II. On 20th July 1944, an assassination attempt was made on Hitler's life but failed. Kaltenbrunner was assigned to begin the investigation into who was responsible for the assassination attempt. The conspirators were soon identified. An estimated 5,000 people were eventually executed and many were sent to concentration camps. Kaltenbrunner was one of Hitler's staunchest loyalists and was described as committed to Hitler to the bitter end. He was awarded the Knight's Cross of the War Merit Cross with Swords on 15 November 1944 and was also awarded the Nazi Party Golden Party Badge and the Blut Orden. On 18 April 1945, 3 weeks before the end of the war, Himmler appointed Kaltenbrunner commander-in-chief of the Romanian German forces in Southern Europe. The Soviet Red Army was advancing on Berlin. He was present at the Führer bunker. Realizing that the end of the war was near, he fled Berlin. After Adolf Hitler committed suicide on 30 April 1945, Nazi Germany surrendered unconditionally to the Allies on 7 May. On 15 May 1945, Kaltenbrunner was captured by US intelligence team. He was found hiding in a remote cabin at the top of the Todesgebirge mountains in Austria. He was tried at Nuremberg trial, charged with conspiracy to commit crimes against peace, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. He was also charged with involvement in the murder of 50 British prisoners of war who escaped from the prison camp but were later recaptured. He was absent from the early stages of the Nuremberg trials due to a subarachnoid hemorrhage which required several weeks of recovery. After his recovery, he was brought to the court in a wheelchair. He pleaded not guilty to the charges against him. Kaltenbrunner argued in his defense that his position as chief of the RSHA existed only theoretically. Himmler, as his superior, was the person responsible for the atrocities committed during his tenure as chief of the RSHA. He was only active in matters of espionage and intelligence. All decrees and legal documents that bore his signature were rubber-stamped and filed by his assistant. Also asserted that he had no knowledge of the final solution before 1943, and he protested against the ill treatment of the Jews to Himmler and Hitler. The International Military Tribunal found Kaltenbrunner not guilty of crimes against peace, but guilty of war crimes and crimes against humanity, and sentenced him to death by hanging. Kaltenbrunner was executed on 16 October 1946 around 1:15 a.m. in Nuremberg, along with the 9 other condemned defendants from the first Nuremberg trial. On the scaffold, asked if he had any last words, Kaltenbrunner said, "I have loved my German people and my fatherland with a warm heart. I have done my duty by the loss of my people, and I am sorry my people were led this time by men who were not soldiers, and that crimes were committed of which I had no knowledge." As the black hood on his head, Kaltenbrunner in a low voice said, "Germany, good luck." His body, like those of the other 9 executed men, was cremated at the Eastern Cemetery in Munich, and the ashes were scattered in a tributary of the river Isar. Our channel, ThePastQuest. We only post videos about history. Subscribe the channel and support us. Thank you for watching.